Welcome, everybody. This is DW, Daniel Whited from Denver, Colorado, and we just welcome you one more time to the Doctor's Clinic Call. And we're going to get into some basics tonight on toxicity. And, one of the things that we hardly ever get to talk about is just some of the things that we do that allow toxins into our life. Well, there are all kinds of elements of stress and things like that come into people's lives that cause toxicity. In other words, stress is a big form of toxins. Lack of exercise can allow toxins to leach up and stay inside your muscles and inside your joints, and so that can always be a challenge as well. Another level that toxicity happens is people sometimes they're watching a bunch of junk that's toxic. They're talking toxic words and languages and not walking in a positive manner. And that leads to really, it's, there was a story told, in the Reader's Digest, and what the Reader's Digest was talking about was the fact that this guy he got locked into a freezer, and it was a freezer cargo of a train that was going down the road, and he was in that thing, and he just it was convinced in his mind that he was going to freeze and that he was going to not survive, wasn't going to make it, and he began to write notes all through the night as the train rolled down the track, and when they found the guy, they diagnosed him that he basically literally froze to death. And he wrote, goodbye, and I'm on a mission, the whole 9 yards, and memoirs to whoever, and all that stuff. However, the cargo car was not, and the freezer unit was not turned on. And he had mentally convinced himself that he was going to freeze to death. And that's kind of interesting how powerful the mind is. Well, and so when you start thinking positive, start believing positive, start moving forward positive, you'll notice not only how negative you've been in the past, but how negative people around you are. And so sometimes you got to take a break a little bit just to reset yourself and get your mind thinking and get your belief going. Well, we want to get into some things this evening that, not just how you are emotionally, not just what's going on mentally, not just what's happening financially, that there's a lot of toxicity in those areas. But we're going to talk about what you put on your body and how things can mess you up toxic-wise. And then our buddy Rob Cohan's going to come on, and he's going to yak to us electronically, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're going to start off with Dr. Kurt Fizz. And this is, we talk about the Wake Up with Sisel call in the mornings, but this is the Doctor Clinic call. And Doc Fizz helps us a lot. Dr. Karen Kelly did a phenomenal job on the call with us recently, and I'm sure she's on here tonight. If we need some backup, we can call on her as well. But Dr. Kurt Fiznick, we want to welcome you to the call this evening, and we appreciate you getting into some of these topics. And so let's just take it away. This is where the world is your waiting room. Dr. Kurt Fizz, are you with us? Welcome to the call.
DW, thanks again for having me on this call. I think it's a real important call, and I do appreciate you being on here every week and making sure that we can do this presentation. And like you say, the whole idea behind the call is that we can turn the world into our waiting room just by sharing information on this call. So tonight, I just wanted to share a few things, and some of it is personal opinion, some of it is really based on fact, and so I'm going to start with this. I joined Sisel about 4 years ago. Sisel has launched really some of the most amazing product formulations over the course of the last 10 years, and as a physician, I was initially attracted to the company because of that fact. Can you get remarkable formulations from other companies as well? Sure you can. There are some other companies out there who have developed one or two formulations that we need to take note of, equally fantastic. But over and above any other company, Sisel has developed more, and they've developed stronger more efficient formulations than anybody I've ever seen. And that's coming from me as a physician. My goal as a physician is real simple. Let's find the best way to improve somebody's health and do that in a manner that's the most effective. The other night, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Tom in his living room and talking to Tom Sr. about cancer treatment. So many people are affected by cancer. I go back and think of the days when I was a preteen and when I was a teenager. I mean, I never really even knew anybody that had cancer. I think back maybe one or two, but now my children have lost friends to cancer already. And it's affecting people of every age. It's not just an old age disease. But Tom and I were talking about cancer treatment. And I think that a lot of people out there, they think that they have to have this idea of either going alternative or conventional treatment when it comes to looking at their cancer. But that's not the case at all. In fact, as Tom and I were talking, I had told him that if I were diagnosed with cancer today, I probably wouldn't go with chemo at all. I just really don't like the results. I don't like the side effects. And for me, I truly believe that I wouldn't do it. But that's my choice. I don't try and push that onto anybody else. I may choose other traditional cancer treatments, other options. But you can bet your bottom dollar I would also include a great deal of alternative natural formulations and extracts that have been studied and used for years and years. I think it's only prudent when one is talking about their health. And that's something that I think each and every one of us needs to look at, and we need to be brave enough to show our doctor, hey, this is something that I want to use along with whatever treatment you choose to go with. And Tom agreed with me, and he said that, he would probably look at chemo as well, depending on what is available, and that's his choice. For me, I don't think I would go with chemo. I wouldn't agree with it. But again, that's for me, not for anybody else. So here's the big deal. When we're looking at how to improve the health of our country and of the world, we need to take a look at prevention as the first line of defense. You can't get a disease and then say, oh, I'm going to do prevention. No, now you're doing treatment. And I think the mainstream uses the word prevention, but I don't think they really understand that much about it. As the presidential election comes near, and I'm not going to talk politics here, I think a lot of people understand my point of view, but healthcare is on the top of the list of important topics, important issues. Everyone agrees that something needs to be done to curb the cost, but we also need to look at improving the health of our nation. In comparison to the other top 50 developed nations, we're listed as number 43 in terms of overall health and wellness. 43. I mean, that's horrible. That means that there's 42 other countries that have better health in comparison. And so we have the most expensive system in the world, and in my opinion, we should be in the top 10, not in the bottom 10. We're not even close. In my opinion, all the terrorists need to do is sit around and wait. We'll eventually kill ourselves with just our way of life. But we can't just change who pays for the health care and think that we fixed it. We can't exclude or include everyone or no one. That's not going to fix it. And it might actually make things worse. You see, the third major cause of death in this country is something called iatrogenic disease. That means it's doctor-induced. So if you want to prevent the third major cause of death, just don't go to the doctor. Number 1 and number 2 causes of death are heart disease and cancer in that order. So if we can lower the cause of number 1 and number 2, we can certainly lower number 3, right? So where do we start? According to Paul Zane Pilzer, who is one of the world's leading economists, he said that we need to start by really taking a good look at the cause of the disease. If we find the cause and we correct it, perhaps we can start making a dent in the cost of health care, and we can actually improve longevity and improve the health of our nation. Not just our nation, but all the Western nations, the ones that follow traditional Western medicine. So what does Paul Zane Pilzer think? Well, I kind of think on the same lines. It has to start with the food that we put in our mouths, the air that we breathe, and the things that we put on our body. In some sense, I also believe that it's the thing that we think about, the things that we think about that affect us, and we have to believe, we have to know that most of this is controlled by the media. They tend to focus on negative news, and you certainly can't find good health if that's all you're focusing on, right? So here's the problem. Let's start with the things that we put on our body, and then we'll go to talking about things that we put in our body. The first thing that most people do in the morning, they wake up, they get out of bed, they go to the bathroom, they start to brush their teeth. They brush their teeth with toothpaste that contains chemicals that aren't really all that safe, chemicals that can cause harm, right? They won't kill you like right away, but over a period of time they'll cause damage. Fluoride, for instance, interrupts 72 different pathways where iodine is necessary. By doing so, it affects your mental health. It's one of the most common causes of depression. It affects the immune health. It actually makes it so our immunity goes down. And it affects our sexual health as well by interrupting some of the pathways in the reproductive system. It affects our metabolic health and the thyroid by making it so that we have a lower metabolism. So people put on weight. Well, what does that do? Well, that increases the risk of heart disease. It increases the risk of cancer. A lot of people just think that iodine is associated with the thyroid. There's a lot of other ways that iodine is necessary for our body. But the fluoride, that's just one chemical found in our toothpaste. And by the way, it was not even discovered to help the prevention of cavities like they had theorized back in the 1950s when they started adding it to water. But there's other chemicals in our toothpaste as well. Insecticides, fluor and concrete cleaners, gritty substances that you find in sandpaper. So these things will cause deterioration of the health of your teeth. Then, as men, we usually shave, and that has a chemical that interrupts the endocrine system. We all jump in the shower and use products on our hair and body that interrupt the system, the endocrine system, as well as adding other chemicals. Chemicals like silicones and PEGs, sodium lauryl sulfates, waxes, ingredients that cause the hair to fall out, and these chemicals will rapidly metabolize into the system because the hot water from the shower has opened up the pores in our body. So now we're just lathered in all sorts of chemicals. And that doesn't even mention the chemicals that are found in the water. I mean, holy cow! If you look at anything that's been studied on the EWG, you'll find that they're finding chromium-6, which is highly corrosive to the body and causes cancer and other things. Then we use antiperspirants under our arms that contains aluminum. Aluminum is really good at preventing wetness, but it's been found to be in high concentrations of the brains of people who have Alzheimer's disease. Do we really need to address that? You bet. More people today are worried about that than they're worried about getting cancer or heart disease. They just assume that based on the cancer rates and the heart disease rates that they're going to get sick, but they want to know what can we do to help prevent Alzheimer's. And here's something that we need to let people know. So men, for the most part, we're done in the bathroom. We're heading down to the kitchen, but women will add another 10 or 11 products that are very hazardous, makeup including lipstick that has lead, mascara that has mercury, different kinds of makeup that have toxic chemicals in them. And finally, we're all out of the bathroom, we're into the kitchen. So what happens next? We'll start talking about the things that we put in our body. And a lot of people will drink a soda, or they'll have an energy drink in the morning. We'll send the kids off to school with a can of soda and maybe an energy bar or something like that. And a lot of these contain high levels of fructose corn syrup, corn sugar, and other types of sweeteners that have been proven not to be healthy. A lot of people will grab a processed food meal that does not contain a lot of nutrients, and they also contain a lot of chemicals that can cause harm. And we're seeing more and more studies being done on this. So that starts the metabolism off in the wrong direction right away in the morning. And then throughout the day, you eat and you snack on food that's not healthy. A lot of people drink coffee that's usually processed improperly. It contains a lot of cancerous chemicals and things that will cause harm to the body. So our food is just not nutritious, and according to recent studies, 99% of us are nutritionally deficient. So even those of us who are taking different kinds of supplements and products, we're missing something somewhere. So we're not really making as good of an effort, or I guess we're making an effort, but we're not really preventing it as much as we want. So that's the problem. If we can start to fix that, we can head in the right direction. And I think that we'll find that healthcare will be a lot less expensive. It'll be a lot easier to deal with because we're dealing with people who are overall more healthy than what they are right now. So that's my opinion, and I'm going to hand this back over to DW. If you want to talk a little bit about kind of the Sisel Safe, the malware mission, and maybe just talk about, the Encompass 360 and the Sizzling and the Triangle of Life, kind of the staples of our company, but also maybe go into like the 4 Restore and the Super Omegas and the Body Shield, the Super Detox. These are all important things that we need to address issues. We talked about the thyroid. Let's talk a little bit about Body Shield. What can Body Shield do for us in helping to prevent problems with the thyroid? And again, we can't say that any of these products will address specific different diseases, and we can't say the word cure or treat or anything like that. But what if we can take and we can just help improve the overall quality of our health and make it so that people are healthier? Won't that make a big difference? DW, over to you. Thank you.
Dr. Kurt Fizz, that's appreciated, buddy, and we appreciate all that you're doing to make an impact and make a difference. And we got kind of something special going to happen here now. And won't get into a lot of major details. He'll let you know what he wants you to know. But our buddy Rob Cohan lives out in the San Diego area in San Diego County. And he's been through some challenges, been fighting some battles. But, he's done the right things in the past. He's doing the right things now. And, we've talked back and forth today just a little bit, or text back and forth today a little bit. And he's going to talk to you in through a computer system, but he's able to communicate that way with you very clear and get into some of the personal care things. I mean, just very basics about what you put on your body when you're in the bathroom and the laundry detergent and just the things that you use. So, Sir Rob, welcome to the call, and we're ready for you to share.
Suffice to say, I lost my natural voice in March, so my artificial voice will talk for me kind of like Stephen Hawking does.
I love it.
Thank you, DW. Please be patient with the pauses. Hello everyone. This is Rob Cohan from San Diego, formerly from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. DW asked me to speak about Sisel's personal care products. I'll talk about my favorites. First is the wonderful bar soap, Barvitace bar soap specifically.
We love the bar soap.
It is made in Japan and wrapped like a gift. It is a great gift, in fact. It is the most luxurious soap I have ever used, and that includes when I stayed in 5-star hotels. It is wonderful in the way it feels and how it smells. It leaves your skin feeling great, and there is nothing in the ingredients which is poisonous, which is more than I can say about the common soaps out there. Not all of them, but many have issues with ingredients which, if they were introduced to industry today, would be allowed into a soap. Next, I'll talk about the fruit and vegetable wash we call Organic Cleanse. Wow! Having been hit by parasites in the past, I have to say that even if you eat fully organic food, they can be loaded with stowaways along for the ride. And if you eat conventionally grown produce, even those items on the Environmental Working Group's Clean 13 list have pesticide residue on the outside. The problem with pesticide is that it does not know what to kill and when to stop. It's not always easy to get rid of. Organic Lens does a great job of removing the huge majority of all this stuff you do not want in your body. At least it removes enough to tilt the balance in your favor. Now for the dish soap we call Aseptic Clean. I always enjoyed washing dishes and feeling the surfaces with my fingertips. Now I can do it and know that I am not poisoning myself in the process. It smells and feels great and does a good job. Not long ago, Sisel doubled the size of the bottle for us, and if memory serves me correctly, the price either stayed the same or was very close to the original price. Awesome company. Now on to the hand soap liquid we call Absolve. Wow! Feels and smells great. Works great. Leaves your hands soft, clean and smooth. Try washing your feet with it sometime for a special treat. Perhaps our Muslim friends would appreciate having a bottle for their 5-foot washings per day they do. I use the Sapphire shampoo and conditioner. Smells great, feels great and leaves your hair so shiny people will be reaching for their sunglasses. That's about it. There is more, but my fingers are getting tired of typing. Back to you, DW.
I tell you what, Rob Cohen, you're such a blessing. We just give you big double hugs from Denver, and thank you so much for all that you do. So what Rob is talking to you about is putting yourself in a position to, to no longer put toxins or chemicals or poisons on your body. And that's fantastic. Now, I will try to reach out to Sue Cohan and Sue Condon here, see if she's on here. And I called you Rob's last name, Sue Cohan, but that's all right. Once in a while we get excited. But Sue Condon's on the call now. She can unmute herself, *6. She's taught us so much, but I would love her to talk about, the toothpaste and the mouthwash, and it even gives a couple tips that you've given Miss Helen and I, and we used it. Now, so everybody knows, Sue has been exposed and, was on about a 20-year auto purchase, with the company that Tom once ran before, and was part of his original company that he started. And then when she found out he's here at Sisel, and took a little bit of time, but she's moved over and is doing some things with Sisel that's actually extraordinary. But Sue, talk to us about the basics of, I may ask you some more. We'll see how much time we have, but let's do the shampoo but let's do the toothpaste and talk about the mouthwash.
Oh, you know what? I've known this for so long that when you say that, it's kind of funny to me because it's such a way of life once you understand Tom's products, the Maurer mission. But I was just telling DW when I first met him that he had not heard that we were taught years ago with the toothpaste and the mouthwash, which is Terminator, that you always put your toothpaste on a dry toothbrush because you don't want any water or anything on there to minimize, what Tom has, the ingredients that Tom has in there for the teeth and for the protection of the bacteria, killing the bacteria and such. So we always brush with a dry toothbrush, and then we never rinse with water. We rinse the toothbrush out, but then we rinse our mouth out with the Terminator and let it sit in there for a little bit. And then make sure if it's one of your morning brushes or afternoon brushes that try not to put anything in your mouth for about 20 minutes. And then at night, of course, you're going to do that the last thing before you go to bed and let that work all night long. So sometimes we can weaken or even nullify the ingredients that Tom has working for us in his formulas for this toothpaste. And it's so funny because this is my husband's favorite product that he likes to talk about is the toothpaste and the Terminator. Back to you, DW.
Well, Sue, we appreciate that, and and what she's talking about when it comes to toothpaste, your average toothpaste will simply tell you, if swallowed, call poison control. Well, anything that Tom has, if it has a Sizzle Safe stamp on it, it means you're not going to find the hazard materials in it. And like Sir Rob and Sue talked about as well, you're not going to find the poisons or the toxic materials.
DW?
Yeah.
Let me add something to that. I just now thought about when you said that.
You add a couple things to it because you're so good at this, but you didn't know we were calling on you tonight, so bless your heart, you're doing awesome.
But what I was thinking is I had a gentleman who was in another networking company, and his grandchild, I think he was 2, ended up in the ER room, and it was from swallowing toothpaste. And we hear those stories, and we think that will never happen. But this little kid was deathly sick because he got in there, and they don't know how much he swallowed. So, I mean, these things are important. I take it for granted because we've known it for so long, but we just, I had a guy tell me the other day, he's a bachelor. I don't know how he did this. I said, are you sure you're brushing every day? But because I told him you only need a pea size, and his tube lasted him 9 months. When we talk about the cost of the product, we got to remember, again, the concentration.
Yeah, Sue, that's a good point. It doesn't take about the size of a pea or so for your toothpaste is fine. And you know, a lot of times, let's say you have a tooth that's kind of going a little bit raunchy on you, not doing as good as it should do, you can take the toothpaste and just kind of dab it all around there and just let it set for a while. And then you can take the Terminator mouthwash at some point. It depends on how long let the toothpaste set there, but you can take the mouthwash and let it set there for quite a while as well. And it will make a big impact, you know, on what's going on. What's in the Terminator, it has some properties in it that literally develops the healing of the skin fast and in repairing of the skin. And so phenomenal to spray on sunburns. I mean, just absolutely attacks sunburns really, really fast and makes a big impact there. We buy the little bottle and with the little spray thing, and you want to get several of them. And matter of fact, I'm sitting right here, and on my desk is a big bottle of the mouth rinse and the Terminator mouthwash. I mean, a little bottle with the little spray thing in it. And so, if you got a bad tooth or a bad spot or a cold sore, or if you're getting a cold or a cough or an itchy throat, carry it with you. And about every 5 minutes, just real like that. That's the sound it makes when you spray it. It's and just spray it, just your back of your throat, and just do that. It's way better than the throat lozenges and all that you can put back there, and it'll start healing up where the problems are at. So that is a big deal when it comes to putting yourself in a position to get yourself healed back up. So it's for interior, it's for exterior. The Terminator as well can be something you can, even though it says don't swallow on there, there's nothing harmful on there. That's just, instructions that the FDA has Tom put on there. But I've seen people with acid reflux and all kinds of challenges, ate something that have eaten something they didn't agree with their stomach, and they're upset. We just had this happen the other day at boot camp. One of our buddies was having some challenges, and we gave them, and they swallowed a little bit of the Terminator, and then a little bit later swallowed a little more and just let it drain down their back. In the process of doing that, boom, the results were extremely good for him. And so that makes a big impact. And so what Doc Fizz is talking about tonight is put yourself in a position to operate in the Myra mission, which is to be in a position where you never put anything toxic on your body again. And then we have products like he was referring to, and we're not going to have time. I mean, he mentioned like 10 products he wanted me to cover, and there's no way we're going to get those covered. So, and Doc is going to have to love us in spite of it, so that'll be for another call. But the Body Shield and the Triangle of Life, which has the Ficoidin in it, and it has the Spectramax in it, and Eternity, which is resveratrol. Taking those products right there, taking Influence. I mean, right now, you need to have several bottles of Influence on stock, some Omega Plus on stock, just so that you can, have those things on hand as you need them. But right now, people's moving into where it's getting a little bit chillier at night, and so on and so forth. So that's where you want to go in there and put those things up, right by your bed or your shelf or wherever. So you're taking them before you go to bed at night. Taking some Body Shield, taking some Influence before you go to bed, taking some in the morning, and just prepare yourself for any kind of cold or challenge that would come on yourself. So, guys, we're going to call that a wrap tonight. I'm just so excited for you to be on part of the Doctor's Clinic Call, and a big thanks to Rob Cohen and our special guest tonight, and our other special guest, Sue Connon. You're just absolutely amazing. We're so proud of you and Candy and your team. Big appreciation to you guys, and what a great event you had last weekend. It's good to be a part of that. And Doc Fizz, you're amazing. We love you, brother. And Dr. Karen Calley, who's part of the Doctor Clinic Calls as well. We appreciate you and everyone else that's on the call tonight, that's a wrap. Thank you for being part of the call, and we'll see you same place, same time next week.